we've been talking about ourselves and like how we're acclimating and where you're based out of.
All right, so let me give you a little introduction to who I am. So I am in Washington, D.C. I'm a consultant. I typically work in the international development arena, but I also have a nonprofit that's based out of North Carolina. And for me, I have just been trying to use this time to regroup and to plant some new seeds. A lot of my work is travel heavy, and so a lot of it has disappeared. So I will be basically trying some brand new things. And actually, it's really helped me in some ways because I procrastinated on some ideas that I had because I didn't have a lot of time to really do research and, sit down and plan and implement. And I'm actually doing that now. So in a way, even though it's been challenging financially, it's helped me in terms of future development. How I'm coping, I mean, I'm fine. I'm kind of an ambivert, but I lean more to introvert anyway, so I don't really mind being by myself. I just miss being active because I'm a very social person. I like to go out to bars and go bowling and go to movies, and I like to do stuff. So that's really what I'm missing more than anything.
Yeah.
That's funny. We were just talking about that. I'm sorry, I didn't even ask your name. Z Gaddafi.
Oh, Zoria.
Zoria. How do you spell that?
Like Maria, but with a Z instead of an M.
That's pretty. Zoria.
Thank you. We were all just talking about how it's impacting us. For me, I think it's the lack of, I used to walk a lot, like walk to work and like walk to like workout classes. And like most of my socializing was like workout classes or like, like brunches and happy hours and stuff. So it's been really good for me because now all I do is cook for myself. I can still do, the workout classes, I can still like have community with like online for the most part. And so I'm super in touch with my friends. I'm in touch with friends from all over the world, and like, just like you, I'm growing little like food in my window. Like, so it's like a cocoon time, like a butterfly, trying to work on projects and things like that. But I think we're all ambiverts because we were just talking about that. I was just talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like being around people, but I definitely feel drained afterwards. So I have to take my me time, and it usually takes me a couple of days to recuperate if I've been around people for like a whole day. That takes. But I mean, I don't know. I think that there's oftentimes we feel like we don't have enough time to get anything done. And we're always operating, in survival mode in this country because everything is so expensive. There's never enough time between work and family and, trying to stay fit and trying to cook and eat healthy. It's just, you just kind of go, 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 go. The pace here is crazy. And so like, for me, I think that for a lot of people, this is probably the respite that they needed. Even though they didn't realize they need it. And although people are frustrated because they're not used to it, I think once they get through the shock of the new world, that they find that it's actually good for them to take a step back and have some downtime.
So, I agree. I think that so many people were just on the go and just kind of on autopilot that they really weren't connecting, and this was just like a way for everybody to reboot. So
the forced reboot.
It's funny though, I miss events. I really miss events, and I've always been of the mindset that events are like a necessary evil. Because I'm like you, I need, if I go to an event, like if I go to a trade show, and it's like a 2 or 3 day trade show and it's nonstop morning through evening of networking and talking to people, and just being around people, it takes me a good week afterwards to just let go of all of that and like decompress. And now I'm missing that. So obviously it's not a necessary evil. Deep down inside, I enjoy it. So that's one of those that I'm dealing with. But
I think funny for people like us, because when we are around people, we put so much into it. Like people always go, "Oh, you're not an introvert." Like, psh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You don't get to be one of us. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm an extroverted introvert. Like, but deep in my core, I can survive much better. Like I've been powering on my own with limited human contact for I've been in like sequester / quarantine for I think 4 weeks, maybe like a month at this point. And so for me to be able to do that and to feel sustained and feel like I do feel like headachy if I don't go outside and get fresh air. And you know, and get a chance to walk around and stuff. But otherwise, like that, like I can go outside for an hour or two and just walk around in a circle and smell fresh air and stuff and come back and feel recharged. But because when I do social things, and I think it's the same for all of us, I tend to put a lot into it.
Yeah.
So then the people go, oh my God, you're so fun and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why. Like I'm like this, but like I tend to want to take a charge and all this stuff, you know, and like, you know, connect, and, you know, and then the battery just gets drained down.
Yeah, I'm totally like that. And I love being around people. I like to engage, but I want to go home. And I've always said I'm like that person that's like, oh, I'm gonna sparkle outside. But then I like, do not want you to follow me home. I do not want you to show up at my house. I do not. Those are off limit spaces for you. And unless I invite you, then if I invite you, then that means I'm on. But other times I'm like, I know. Replug and repower.
So that brings up a question then. How many of you are okay when people just show up?
It depends.
Yeah, it depends on how I'm doing. Like if I'm in cocoon mode where I'm like sitting in front of the TV, Netflixing with a glass of wine, I'm not open to it.
Yeah.
Okay. It depends on where I am, actually. Like, I don't know, you guys know, well, most of you know that I do spend a lot of time in different countries. So when I'm here in the United States, I definitely have a different mindset than when I'm at home in Colombia, or if I'm traveling to, you know, a different country where I'm working. I don't know, for some reason it's like, it's just a switch. When I'm here, I don't want to be bothered. And I find it rude and unusual if someone just pops up at my house. But when I'm at home, it's expected because it's the culture, and it's the culture in most places that I go to in Africa and South America. So, you know, people can pop up at any moment. Have yourself together, have your house together. But here it's like, this is my space, you know, everything might be, you know, thrown around. I might not have no makeup on. I don't want you to see me. It's just a whole different way of operating. And I think about my interactions with people differently when I'm here.
Yes. For me, it's just like kind of what you said. I'm one of those people who I feel like my environment always needs to be neat for me to feel like complete, for me to feel put together. So, as long as my apartment is pretty clean when you arrive, that means that I'm in a state of like openness. Like, you know, that means that like, so that's like always my first priority is everything's put away and everything's like, you know, for me to feel like at ease. And so if I'm watching a show and my neighbor friend knocks on the door, my place is clean and I feel clean, then I'm like, yeah, oh, hey girl, what's up? Yeah, you know, because probably I feel complete. But what happens is I make messes like right there. Like I'm working on a project, you know, I have like art out or something. And that's when I feel like I'm in a state of disarray or like a creativity space where I don't want to be interrupted. So one of my girls, she calls all the time. I always make plans for phone calls with friends. And some of them think that's crazy. They're like, why do you plan phone calls? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, let's have a phone date, like on Friday, like, you know, 7 p.m. or whatever. Like, what? Call me if you want to. And I'm like, all right. But when you call me and I don't answer, don't get mad that you didn't text first. Because I'm always working on a project, like either it's cleaning or it's filing or it's creating or it's thinking. So I'm never not, unless I'm watching TV. So I'm never not thinking of a million things. I don't know. That's just like my brain. I'm sure you guys
I would agree
like
with that
too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Like I have to have everything in its place. Like when stuff starts piling up or like it just looks a mess, I'm like, oh my God, I can't think. I can't do this. This is not working out for me. And it's just, everything starts to go. And then I just start feeling a certain type of way. Like when I'm up and I'm like, oh, especially like springtime, then I'm like, oh, let's clean up. Let's get this in order.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel much better. Otherwise, I'm just like,
yes. So
yeah, and if somebody, I'm sorry, if
go ahead, Danae.
if somebody visits me and I'm in like you're saying, in creation mode, creative mode, messy mode, and they're, let's say we're standing at my kitchen table, or we're talking, I find that my mind cannot focus on what they are saying the entire time. I'm thinking about the mess around me and like, can they see it? Is it that obvious? Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It'll drive me crazy and I cannot focus on that conversation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So can I say, I'm sure you've probably heard of it, but one thing that really, really like helped me, because we're all, it sounds like kind of neat freaks or whatever, or we're like project and organization freaks. The KonMari method really, really does work. Like ever since I did my closet, it stayed immaculate. Like, and my drawers, like they remain immaculate. My like living room space and stuff, it really is a good process. And it helps me work on more projects, because when I do make a little mess, everything eventually does have a place to go back to. And so I can just like work on a project, make a little mess, clean it up, feel at ease, start another project, and like everything always has a place. So you guys have probably already done it, but in case you haven't, I really like it.
Yeah. Only issue
yeah, I like her method a lot too. Go ahead.
Is like I live with messy people now, so
got a baby,
and I have like a 7-month-old child who does not know order at all, and that was even something that I had an apprehension about before I got pregnant. I was like, oh my god, my whole life.
Oh, wait till the baby starts walking and running around and leaving everywhere.
He's crawling and he thinks he can walk, so he just will let go and just be like, hey, and I'm like, no, like, and that can't be here. And I used to be that person who was like, my aunt would be like, you have a niece, you need to change. I was like, my niece doesn't live with me, like I'm not changing my life for her. And she's like, you have to think about these things. I'm like, no. So you have to remove glass. I'm like, no, she needs to walk around the glass. So now I have a child. I'm like, I'm not getting rid of my stuff. Like you
got like the European mindset. This stuff is here.
I moved stuff so that he has like this area. He has the whole living room, but then we just have to put things back. And the other day, I was so proud of him because he started putting like stuff in the basket. I was like, yes, we know.
Start them young. Start them young.
Like, get that in the basket, please. So.
My child is not neat at all. My son is not neat at all. I'm not the neatest person in the world. I don't know how I gave you guys the impression I was a neat freak. I am the complete opposite of a neat freak. My mother is a neat freak, and my mother's house is like a museum. And for me, that was very suffocating when I was a child. And I could not wait until I grew up when I could just throw my clothes on the chair, or not make my bed, or not wash the dish at the end of the night before I go to bed every single night. So for me, it's like, no, I'm definitely not a neat freak. I'm a germaphobe to an extent. So like my bathroom and my kitchen, I always keep clean. But when it comes to like my workspace or my bedroom, oh no. No. And if someone sees it when I'm not prepared for them to see it, I'm just like, ah. You know my secret, I'm a slob.
Oh my God. Wow.
I'm totally a slob, but no.
A lot of really smart people are slobs.
That's what they say, so that's my excuse. But I am a minimalist, so that does help because I don't have a lot of stuff. I am very much a minimalist, and I don't like having a lot of stuff. I think that comes from just traveling so much. I like to be able to pick up and go, because even when I wasn't traveling a lot for work, I moved a lot. I used to always move around, like, oh, I'm tired of Atlanta, I'm going to go to Chicago. Oh, I'm tired of Chicago, I'm going to go back to Atlanta. And just, the expense of traveling every couple of years and packing and unpacking became such a nightmare that I just learned, a long time ago to be a minimalist. And so now, like, even when things do get cluttered and I know someone's coming, I can just, put it right back real quick. So that helps, that helps. But no, I'm not a neat freak at all.
A quick question, Denai. Are you working for someone at home, or because you said you worked remotely anyways?
Yeah, so I own a business. I own a digital marketing agency. I've been in the digital marketing space for 20 plus years. I'm like a dinosaur now. But I've worked from home for probably, I'd say, the past 7 years. We closed our office in Miami about 7 years ago now. And we let everybody work remotely. And it's like the smartest thing we ever did. So yeah, I've just been used to working remote for 7 years now.
Good.
That's awesome. That's funny. I'm a huge proponent of like owners letting people work remotely, because I used to have a small business, and we were at the will of our clients for the most part, but any opportunity that we could work remotely, or that I could have my employee just had one work remotely, I always took it, because I felt that productivity for me was just based on producing, like what you did, and she kept track of what she did, and she really did it. So yep. I honestly did not care. I used to always just laugh at these companies that spend so much money on office space, including my own, because we're my company.
That nobody comes to see you at.
Right.
I mean, we had in like 3 years of paying for all of that overhead, we had 2 clients visit us. One of them came from Mexico, and the other one, and they were both clients who were like friends for a long time that we could have just easily gone to lunch with, which we ended up doing anyway. So yeah. Exactly. So it just, it made sense to let everybody work from home. And as a mom, with 2 kids at home at that time, I loved being able to say, you know what? I'm going to take 2 hours off, and I'm going to go do some PTA work and hang out with my kid and be there and not miss out on all that important stuff, because whatever I have to do, I can finish it up at 8 p.m. Like, it's not, if it was time sensitive, I would get it done. And so I found that if you hire the right people that can work within that structure where they're self-led, you don't have to be on top of them. I hate babysitting people for work anyway. So we, our team has always been the kind of people that can just go work from home. I know that, when we have things that are due and we have deadlines, they're done without excuses. And I don't care, I don't care if you want to work from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. and take the rest of the day off, as long as the projects are done, have at it. And I think that's made a huge difference for us, because people are happy to work with you. They're excited because it's not a 9 to 5, scenario. They don't have a commute. I just think everything about it is positive, as long as you have the right people.
Yeah.
I worked for a nonprofit in DC, my last position, and they had all the infrastructure for everybody to work from home. Most people work from home anyways, and then we had all these field program managers that were obviously in the field in different states. And then we were global, so a lot of our offices were in Africa or Europe, and for the life of me, I couldn't understand why people were showing up at work, because it was a, like a cohabitating working space where people just kind of did whatever they wanted to do, laid on the couch or whatever, but they couldn't go home until like 5 o'clock. And I was like, this is insane, because it's almost like you have to have that sense of control where I know where you're at, even though they were probably, it was so funny because they'd be in like a game room playing games like half of the day, and yet they still got their work done, but you just needed them there. And it's like you're paying all this money for overhead, which you're not getting anything more out of this individual, because you have a snack room. So they're at the snack room eating and you're like paying for it when they could be at home snacking. So
I think that setup is really more about team building. They want to have an atmosphere where people feel like they're part of a team.
That culture was not team building at all. It was the opposite. And I was on your lines. Like, okay, so why don't we take advantage of when people come to work, people should know. There were people on the other side of the building who had never ever been on the side of the building. Like literally it was 15 steps. You'd be like, why don't you come over there? oh, that side of the office, they're kind of prude. And I'm like, really? So I would try to, as a learning and development manager, would be like, okay, let's bring culture in so that people kind of know each other. They feel comfortable going to someone and saying, hey, you have this expertise. Like, I need that. Or I'm working on this project. People didn't even know that people had expertise in certain things that they could actually use. And I was like, but y'all sit on these meetings all day long. I mean, it would be like go out of one meeting to the next meeting. And yet you're on video conference with half of the people. And I'm like, this is so insane. So it was more about control.
I work at a nonprofit that also has a lot of remote workers. It's international, so we're always doing conferences with screens, you know, and then as you tenure, you can take more time off per week to work from home, to work remotely. So I work 2 days remotely usually, and then I can take more. So I often work 3 days remotely. And then when it was time for us to go remote, it was literally like, pick up your laptops as usual and just stay home. So we were able to seamlessly sort of go remote as a company. And I think that what will come out of this, I hope what will, is that they could be spending a lot less money on real estate, because we do have clients visit us a lot and we have events and stuff, but most of us don't need to work at the office most days. Like for me, the amount of times that I would be on a team where we would have visitors would probably be like 4 times a year, you know, maybe 5 times a year. So I could work remotely all the time, and they could save money by just cutting out permanent desk space. Just they could save floors, just boom, 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 cut all that out, save money on utilities, on everything, and just have like temporary spaces for when people want to come in or need to. And then, you know, all those, you know, meeting spaces and stuff for when clients come through, you know, like I just feel like this is an opportunity. You see now that the whole system can go off, you know, away from the office, and we're just like continue to work smoothly. So it turns out we didn't even really need to be in the office even that much.
Right.
Like we could have been in the office a lot less. Like y'all could have been saving money. Some people's personalities want to be in the office. I believe there will be people who will want to go every day.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And some people like me would rather invest in our home and make our home a perfect experience, and then cut out, you know, commuting. My commute's not even long, but just cut out commuting. And I'm healthier because I eat more from home, you know, because I'm not spending money out because I didn't have time to pack up lunch or whatever. So I just think that like it's an opportunity for a lot of companies to evaluate their costs, their overhead.
Definitely.
So I have a question. I have actually been self-employed for on and off for over 10 years. And so one of the things I started doing in 2017 was that I started going to WeWork to do most of my work, because I found that working from home, not that I wasn't productive, but I wasn't as timely in my productivity as I could have been. I find that when I work from home, a lot of my time is wasted. And for me, time is money. So I prefer to go someplace where I'm taken away from my comfort so that I'm forced to focus on exactly what it is I need to get done. And I have like a timeline. I know I want to be out of here by this time. So this is how I'm going to structure my day. So my question for you guys is, how have you found it possible to stay productive? What are some of the techniques that you've used or things that you've implemented into your way of doing business?
Well, I am very ADD. And so I need to work on multiple things at a time. And one of the benefits for me being at home is that I have a standing desk, I have a sitting desk, I have everything laid out for how I like to work. And so I also have, you know, different boards, and basically as ideas hit me, I switch from things back and forth. So sometimes I'm hyper focused and I could sit there and like pump out work for 2 hours straight and not even breathe. And then there are times where I have like literally 5-minute spurts of work on, you know, 12 different projects. I have a hard time doing that. And I do. Sometimes I will go to like a WeWork, or I'll say, you know what, I need to get out. I'm going to go to Starbucks or Panera or whatever, and just be around people and, you know, my favorite thing in the world, which is the smell of coffee. And so, you know, I can work there, but I'm limited in the things I can do there because I don't have my layout the way that I don't have the layout that maximizes my performance the way I like to. So that's, you know, the way I work best is to be able to get up and switch gears with different projects at home by having things laid out for me, and, you know, doing my ideation and getting up and, you know, moving around and things like that really help me focus. I don't know if that answers your question well.
I think that really speaks to a possible change in the future, to where we have not been, for the most part, building our homes to be a combination of a workshop and a home in the past like 100 years. Like ever since the Industrial Revolution, back in the day, people did work from home. Even their home was over their shop or something, you know, or they were farmers, they worked out of their property. And then, you know, there were many different ways people did things, but most people, like, their home base was a big base. And then it became like going out to factories and going out to offices and leaving the house, commuting to go to work. And then you come home at the end of the day. So people have not been building our homes and thinking of our homes in a way of, how can I make this a super productive zone where I make my money here in this compartment and I sleep and enjoy my life in this compartment. And so when it comes time to shift to working from home, it's like, dang, I don't have my double screens. And I don't have the buzz of other people, you know. So what I do is I put on busy coffee shop noise sometimes, or I like I'll find like online like YouTube tracks that make you sound like you're in a busy place, or like you said, stand up and go move to a different section, or have like there's like, my job has combinations of like meetings, cerebral like things where I'm doing a lot of writing, and then like interacting one-on-one with people. And so when I need to be cerebral, what's my best position? When I need to be talking to somebody, maybe I should be moving around while I'm talking to them, and then standing and taking notes, you know. So I think like I'm also struggling with that. I think Danai, you sound like you definitely have a really good home office situation going. I'm currently like in a place where I want to change my desk situation, but I don't, like, no one's going to buy my current table so I can buy a new one. And I, you know what I'm saying? Like right now during a pandemic, like I would just, you know, sell it on.
To sell stuff.
Not a great time to give people personal possessions. I'm like, I have a great table to offer up. I'm sure everyone's going to buy it. So I think that we, going into the future, could focus on how can we make our homes productive, like places where there are productive zones, and also the spring up of more communal places like WeWork and Starbucks and stuff. Just more, I think, like, you know, the corporate office structure can be significantly reduced, and we can invest our time and space more on how we can integrate a combination of working in our homes and working out in public, but where it suits people more, you know, where it doesn't have to be so chained to the idea. Like now I think everyone can go, look, it helps the environment. Companies could be saving money. So that's what I'm hoping for.
So for me, I really love, as long as I have a like office space. So like right now I have a room that has my office, my desk, and my printer and everything. And it looks like my office. But I remember like a couple years ago when I was running my nonprofit in Nashville, I had everything and I had to be in this one room. I had my bed there, and then on the other side of the room, I had my desk, and it was like, oh my God. So, you know, I had to wake up, make up my bed, and it had to be neat on that one side. And then I had to like roll out of bed and roll into my little roller chair, and I could get work done. But then in the middle of the day, if I started getting tired, I could just like roll over to bed, which was not a good thing. And so I found this office space that was like $200 a month or something. And I went and I rented it. The only problem with the office space is it was nice. And I actually had 2 interns that worked out of the office space with me. And I had other like neighbors, but when you shut my door, I was shut off to the world and there were no windows. So I had to like design a window with glass panes and stuff so that it looked like I had a window, although there wasn't a window, so that I knew it wasn't. And I was like about to go crazy. So I ended up going across the street to Starbucks anyways, which I love because it smelled like coffee. Like that's it. And I had that noise because I needed to hear, and I could get so much done with coffee chatter and ups and stuff going. So it was that balance. So eventually I let that go. And I think it just needs to be a balance. When I need to like focus, I need to go somewhere where I have the energy of the people and I know exactly what my timelines are. But I think it's important to kind of have a structure of, okay, you know, this is what the schedule needs to look like. So when I would write out, okay, today I'm going to work out. After I work out, after that 45 minutes or an hour, then I can go take a shower. I need this to be done. This needs to be done. And then I kind of have flexibility and freedom. It worked out better. And it didn't really matter if I went to the little office without the windows because I already got like my people time. And I was just going there to like write. So I just think it's a balance.
I definitely cannot go to any kind of Starbucks or place like that. I can't take noise and I don't want to see or talk to anybody when I'm doing work. So like when I go to week work, I'm in a room by myself. I'm not in an open space. I don't like, and I've never worked in a corporate setting. So I don't really know what that's like. Every job I've ever had, I've had an office because I started out in management from straight out of college. I was in nonprofit management. So luckily I never had to do the cubicle or have other people around me. I don't think I could function like that. When I'm home, when my child is not here, I can definitely do a lot more than when he is here. But just knowing that there's someone else in my presence to me is a distraction. And I can't have any distractions. I need to focus. And when it comes to like multitasking, I personally am not a proponent of multitasking. There's a lot of data that shows actually that it does make most people take a lot longer to get their projects done because their brain is switching too rapidly from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And for me, I definitely fall into that category. I can spend, you know, a good hour working on something if I'm focused on it and I don't have any distractions. But if I'm home and I have, you know, my phone telling me I have this, and I have my little board that says, this is my to-do list, check, check, check. And then I have, you know, I'm seeing that I need to do some laundry. I see that laundry bag over there in the bedroom. It's just too much. Like, I can't do it. I have to have my structure. And so for me, what does help with going to WeWork is that I pack my bag with, okay, only the information for the specific projects that I'm going to be working on. I don't take anything else with me. So even if I am thinking about another project, I just jot it down in my planner as my idea. Like I put down my concept. So whatever, you know, oh, maybe I should look into this. I'll write it down in my planner in my notes section. But I don't have enough stuff with me to actually like try to jump on it. So for me, that has helped me quite a bit. Yeah, I even like working with a lot of people, like a lot of times what I do when I'm consulting, I have people map out their time over a week and I'll look at like, okay, these are your goals that you set for yourself and these are the benchmarks that you needed to achieve these goals. Now we're looking at your calendar and how you wrote down how you spent your time. Have you moved towards meeting these benchmarks? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Very few people can work like Janai does and like goes back and forth. But I know she does it because I know what she does. She's a beast. But yeah, it's for me, definitely that does not work at all. I won't get anything finished.
Go ahead. I said I tend to go in waves of productivity. And so I might, and my body is very like cyclical because I have a condition, you know, so I go into waves of like flares and whatnot. So I go through ways of intense productivity where I'm working out a lot, I'm doing this a lot, I'm working on my projects, I'm writing, I'm slaying it at work. And then in the same month, I'll go through a period where I'm like, why do I feel so sluggish? And like, oh, okay, just accept it. Like, you're going through a bad wave right now. And I know that I'm gonna pick it up like in a week or whatever. But so I kind of like I kind of work on several things at once. But what happens is when I see like Sunday is coming or Monday is coming and I still have this many things on the to-do list, I like push it. I'm like, okay, push it, like gotta get it done. I really like to cross things off and have them done. And I think that's one of the reasons I like working from home or splitting, because sometimes I need to take care of myself. Like I need to focus more on my personal life, like getting vitamin D and taking a walk and like eating really well. And sometimes I can be more like focusing on like work and personal projects and really putting myself out there and like and expending like a lot of energy. So I like that work from home, or at least a mix, gives you the balance to kind of flow between personal, social, spiritual, you know, because it's just like if you have kids, you have that time to be like, let me take 2 hours to deal with the situation, like take my kid to the doctor or something for lunch. And I don't have to like try to pick them up from daycare and then take them here and then take them there and then get back to work, you know, all that stuff, or take off half a day of work. So I like when there's flexibility. But like you said, Mercedes, for sure there is a power and invigoration that comes when you completely leave your personal space and go to your focusing space. For me, like at night, I can go to a cafe and all of those sounds help me with writing. If it's any kind of writing, if it's personal creative writing, if it's work writing, for some reason, a cafe is a place where I feel like I can write. My office, no, because my office, people stop and ask me questions a lot. At a cafe, nobody asks me anything except if I want more coffee. Not really. Or like, can I use that plug? You know?
I'm really missing cafes right now. We're talking about them and I'm like, oh.
Oh, and the smell. Like, if nothing else, I love
the smell.
Starbucks just for like, I need a air freshener that smells like
Get yourself a French press.
Candle. Gotta get a candle.
Get yourself a French press. You know, I have a little French press, so I don't have to make a lot of coffee. It's just for like 1 cup or whatever. I make a little French press. It's so easy, and it makes my place smell so good. And then you put on that little cafe music, like sounds of a cafe / music, and you can sort of feel that feeling almost. But I think if you're kind of creative and you're trying to, or for me, when I'm trying to be creative, I like looking at people around me giving me like inspiration almost, or like seeing life happen, and like that's giving me inspiration, even if it's creativity in my job, like I'm writing a report. But at work I only like to do rote stuff like when I'm in the office, I like to do stuff like onboarding participants or something, like, because there's going to be people telling stories, talking about students or participants, asking me questions. Do you remember this one student? What happened with this? And so I know I can't really be creative or cerebral. And I have one of those spaces that is an open space. Like, it wasn't as bad as Chaz. that was fun / crazy. But I also don't have my own office. And even the CEO, his office is a glass wall with an opening. So he can never even close his door. It's crazy.
The hours.
Ladies, I hate to interrupt, but I have to go because I have a phone call at 1 o'clock that I have to get ready for. But I love this. This was awesome.
You. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, and if anybody wants to present, or you have something that you want to share, like, I want people to like be able to present or have a topic that they want to like get off their chest, or maybe even to kind of like use us as a testing round for something that maybe you're presenting to like a larger audience.
Great idea.
Or whatever. So hopefully we'll see you next week.
All right,
see you next week. Bye.
And I want to be mindful of everybody else's time. It's like 5 minutes. If you have to go, I get it. But thank you for showing up. Hopefully we'll have more topics and more people will come. But I've loved this conversation today. I mean, I love the conversation because I got to get dressed up. And I don't have to run after a person. So
awesome. Yeah, this was fun. I like talking. I think more with this format, with like the Zoom working. I typically don't like talking on the telephone. So at first when people were like, oh, let's just make a phone chat, I was like, no, we gotta do a Zoom chat. I need to see your face. Just something about not seeing the person. It's a little unsettling. I do not like talking on the telephone. I'm like, you want me to call you? Can you email me?
oh my God.
Call you. No. No, let's not do the telephone. So Zoom is what it's gonna be from now on. Anybody needs to meet with me or talk with me about anything, I'm gonna send them a Zoom.
You need one of those video phone conferencing phones.
Oh no, girl, that's too old.
No, like the ones you carry around with you.
I have my iPad though. I can always do like I can do my WhatsApp
FaceTime
chat or my Facebook
yeah.
chat. But I like this better because then I can keep track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was learning like
that's good too.
Different things that Zoom does now. That
hello to Mittens. Hello, Mittens.
Hey,
Mittens. That's a cute cat. Even though I hate
looking
cats.
at y'all earlier. He was like staring at the screen when everybody was up here. He was like, what is that?
Like cats give me the first of all, I'm allergic, so I break out and look like Elephant Woman. So not good look. But and then I'm itchy. My throat is. You have hives all in my.
Sorry.
Like my boyfriend's mom used to have a cat. They got rid of the cat like maybe a year ago, and still the dandruff and the hairs that were there from a year ago still make. I walk in, my eyes just started turning puffy and red.
No.
But
yeah,
I
the
think
hair is
cute.
no joke. The hair is no joke. It's constant. Like I'm constantly picking up, and if you pet him, it comes out in clumps.
Yeah,
so it's like falling snow.
Mine aren't clumps, but they like just as you pet them, it's just embedding into the earth. I mean, I'm constantly trying to brush them with like this like dander conditioner, like constantly to try to like at least capture the hair and the dander. You know what I'm saying? It's I vacuum so much.
Yes, it's every day. You have to constantly be cleaning up cat fur.
Yeah, just cleaning. Yeah.
Sounds like a child.
Yeah. It's worse. It's worse than a child because eventually your child is independent. The cat is a perpetual infant.
Yes.
So like,
my mother is just like, no, don't bring that cat to my house because.
But there's
my eyes are itching just thinking about it. Like
I know, right? I think that if I didn't have them though, I would be feeling a sense of loneliness. Like I do feel there's people in the house, like they let me know every morning, like, hey, feed us, like knocking on the door, wake up, feed us, like they are a presence that has a personality. And so I think if I didn't have my cats, I'd probably feel more like I'd probably get more headaches, honestly.
Yeah. I actually gave him away last year.
And they gave him back?
I gave him to an old lady down the street because I only had gotten this cat pet and he lived with me. And so after we broke up, I travel a lot and I didn't have anyone to take care of the pet. My son is with his father when I'm traveling, so the cat can't be left here by himself. He goes crazy. I left him one weekend and he was just like, all kind of like, you could tell. He was like in shock, like, okay, don't ever leave him alone. So I said, okay, I'll give him to a little old lady. She needs a pet and then he won't ever have to be by himself. He was not about that life. He went under the lady's chair the first day he got there and I went to Vegas. Me. He won't come out. I haven't seen him. He's not eating. He's not touching his food. I know he used the litter box, but nothing else. So the end of the week, she's like, I want to have to take him to the Humane Society because I don't think he's going to survive. He still has to touch the food. And so I'm like, no, I'll come get him. So I came back and got him after my trip was over. He had lost like half of his body weight. It was nothing but skin and bone.
He's a sensitive one.
My poor baby. So I started doing Airbnb actually to have people to take care of him.
Yeah. Yep. One of my cats,
my rate is like 25% less than this area. So that they do that in exchange for taking care of him. And that's been wonderful. He doesn't mind guests, but he doesn't want to go nowhere.
That is good to know because with mine, it's always a question because my place, they're really cute. They're well-mannered and the place doesn't really smell like litter. So I think it could easily Airbnb for people who are cat lovers, especially at a lower price being in DC. So I have thought about that, but I never knew if anyone would actually do that. So it's good to know that you've actually done that, and that is a thing. Because mine.
You look at my reviews. He's the only thing people talk about. People love him.
They would love mine. Like mine are so freaking sweet. They're like dogs. Mine are like dogs. Like they
call
you and they want to hang with you and say what's up, you know. But then they also chill.
Too. I think you have to have that kind of cat.
Dogs are so, I love them, but if a dog isn't the kind that goes outside and plays by himself, like if you don't have a yard, dogs kind of wear me out sometimes because as soon as they're, oh, we doing something? Oh, honey. I'm just standing up.
Mix is very affectionate. He's very playful. I'm just running to the door as soon as I walk in. He literally follows me around the house all day. And he'll just pick up, like he's right now on the floor playing with a fidget spinner. He likes to make it spin on the floor. And I think he definitely has, I say he's like a puppy. He definitely has a dog-like personality.
Oh, well, I guess we all have to, I know we should probably go soon, but I was going to say, how's your baby liking? Does your baby even notice there's any difference in life, or is there no difference in life for him?
No, because I feel like I've been on lockdown since May of last year, but so it's really been 11 months. But the only difference is that we could go, like, the week everything hit, we were already planning on swim classes. So he was going to start taking swim classes 3 times a week. And we would do story time at the library on Friday. And then earlier in Friday, there was like a support group, mommy support group. So I had just literally started doing that kind of stuff. So I was like, let's get out and do. And then literally his life got like altered. But it's not even his life, it's mine, because he doesn't know the difference. He's like, all I need is a floor and some space. Like,
right. He didn't know he had a schedule.
Grab stuff.
Right.
But it's me. It's me.
You're like, I really needed for you to do
another moment. So now we just have to go outside and, you know, since it's warmer, to, you know, go around. There's a track or walking trail in the back of where I live. And so we'll go on that, and people are like, oh my God, look at how cute you are. And I'm like, stay away.
6 feet.
So, but yeah, so hopefully we'll have a new normal expose moment where we can just kind of like come out.
Yeah.
Hello. I don't want to go outside, honestly. I dread every time I have to go out because I'm just like germs.
I know. I get scared all the time, like wiping down my shoes, everything. But I have to go outside.
Over there?
I know, right? I have to go around cars every time because I will not walk by you on the street.
Yes,
I need light. I need sun. I need the water. So like Sunday, we went down to the Alexandria Wharf and like just strolled him around the water. Like I sat at the water and I wiped everything down with my sanitizer sheets and everything, but I just had to like stand there and just be like,
I don't want to go out there.
I know, girl.
I have been in the hospital with a viral infection before. I actually did a video about it yesterday. And so I don't ever want to feel like that ever again in my life. So I'm just like,
Yeah, I know. I be craving that fresh air. I open my window and I lean out of it like an old lady in a book. Like literally, I'll have my little coffee. I'll post up in my little window, like and be like, what's up, with my cat jumping up in the window too. I'm like, yep, I'm a witch. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a lady.
I'm gonna spend more time sitting on the patio, but the cherry blossoms are falling now, and they're all over the place. So they're all over the deck, and they're all over the chairs, and it's like these white and pink petals.
Yeah, see, I don't need all that because like my allergies is like even just opening the windows. Like
the cherry blossoms when they fall. We have one in the yard, so it's like, oh God, why?
I have allergies. I just ignore them. I take a lot of Allegra. I just like. I know I have allergies, like it's ridiculous. Like I'm allergic to a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just like Allegra every day, like all the time. Like these day on allergies, man. Like blow my nose and stuff, sanitize my hands, wash my hands. I'm like, yeah, just like but I love that fresh air so much, and I have to get it. Like, I start to get a headache if I can't at least poke my head out, like preferably walk for a minute, even 20 minutes in a circle. Like, but I can go probably 3 days before I'm like, okay, I have to. And like I said, when I get the battery to my bike and put my bike back into commission, I'm definitely like riding down to Rock Creek Park and just riding, you know what I'm saying? Just in and out, you know?
I try to walk like once a week. I go down to the park. There's a big park near my house, Lincoln Park. So I'll walk down there. But there's sometimes I'm just like, why are there so many people here? Why are so many people in the park?
Yeah, see, I don't like that. I don't like, I would not, That's why I can't even walk to a park right now, because there's too many people on the sidewalk. I got to keep going out into the street. And that's why I'm like, I can't even hardly walk anywhere in DC, because it's not that there's that many people. It's just that there's enough that you're constantly avoiding them. Like, oh, here come another one. But I avoid this one. The paranoia sets in.
Another reason to go back down south.
In the suburbs, like, you just go out to the walking trail, and if people keep 6 feet, like, if it's time for you to cross them, they step in the grass. You know, it's respectful. Other than it was 2 little girls that I guess they were like maybe 13-ish, and I guess they saw dogs and they're like, oh, can we walk? And it was so funny. They walked up to this couple, and it's like, you know, man, woman, and the dog. And I think they even had a baby that they were strolling. And they were like, oh, let me see it. And they were like, no.
I'm so sorry. Back up.
What are they thinking? Like, what are they thinking? They're obviously not. So
I saw a group of like 5 teenagers. I went to the grocery store about 2 days ago. It was like a group of 5 teenagers walking down the street in masks. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? First of all, where are your parents? Why are you out here? And then why y'all all together? What's going on? You're not in school, so you definitely ain't up to no good, probably. You need to go sit down somewhere.
I think the young singles, even though I'm one of them, but whatever, I'm throwing them under the bus. Young singles and teenagers are the absolute worst. And I think that little kids whose parents really have them on a tight leash, and those parents are the best. Like, I was telling earlier, like, little kids who are like 9 who listen to their parents still, they are really good at social distancing in my neighborhood. Like, their parents be like, up, and they're like, oh, let me move out of the way, you know, or they'll see me coming and they'll just already know. They'll look back at their mama, they'll be like, I'm supposed to go over here, right? You know, like, they get out of the way. The parents, they do a good job getting out of the way. The teenagers, they are mobbing around. They're wearing masks, which I think it's smart to wear a mask if you have to go out and do something, like go to the grocery store. But they're just wearing them for fun, I think. And they're just like biking together and riding scooters together, and I'm sure they're sharing a lot of space. And I'm just like, oh God. And then the people who are jogging and stuff, I'm like, you need to be running out to around the cars. You're the one who's jogging. Like, run out. You know, if I'm jogging, I definitely go out off the sidewalk if I see someone coming. And I'm like, you just emitting germs, bruh.
They don't care.
I want to see your video. If you could send us the link later to the video you posted about when you had a virus, I'd love to see that.
Well, we want you not to have no more viruses. And
we don't want to. I want to know, you know, I want to hear your story, you know.
I was all traumatized. My mama had to come all the way up to New York and everything. It was bad.
That's not good.
Nope.
Well, ladies, I'm not gonna hold you all. Hopefully we'll see you next week, and I'm gonna try to get a business owner, hopefully in the travel industry, to talk about like how they have to adjust. And I have one person I'm thinking of that had a conference that was supposed to come up like a couple weeks ago, so they had to like totally shift gears. And hopefully I can get her to talk about her experience and some of the things that she's doing, because I know she's doing a lot of virtual communities, and a lot of her business was based off of like meetup groups, and so it was about bringing people together so that they could actually be in the same space, and how that has shifted now. So I look forward to it.
That'll be great.
Thank you. I'm putting the link in the chat, by the way.
All right. Thank you.
That's it.
Nice to meet all you ladies.
So nice to meet you guys.